Hi guys, welcome. Now, as you may know, I recently opened enrollment to my course Cake Pricing Pro, in which I teach cake makers like you how to confidently price your cakes for profit and growth in just 6 weeks. Now, during the launch of this course, I have spoken a lot with our students as well as cake makers online. And what I realized is that even before you guys get to sit down and work out your prices, right? The biggest problem that you have, or the biggest obstacle that you seem to can't overcome, is the fact that many consumers have this belief that cakes should be cheap. Okay, so if someone believes that cakes should be cheap and your cakes are not cheap, they're not going to buy from you, are they? So, how do we convince them that cakes are more than just sugar and eggs or flour or whatever? Okay, so how do we convince these people that cakes or baked goods take a lot of time and efforts to make, and the people that put in the time and efforts to make them should be compensated fairly for it? Okay, it's a pretty universal concept. Everywhere else, you go to work and you get paid for the time and the efforts you put into doing the work, right? For some reason, with cakes, that just doesn't seem to want to apply to a lot of people. So it can feel like you're fighting an uphill battle all the time, and it's annoying, and it can just feel like it's too hard. Okay, so that's why I put together this quick free webinar for you today. If you want to learn the actual practicality of how to sit down and work out your prices, right? That includes market research, competitor research, your cost analysis, how to work out your margins, the different pricing strategies for different cake businesses, all of that stuff. I teach that in Cake Pricing Pro, okay? But today, what I want to address to help you overcome this is why people believe that cakes should be cheap and how to fix that, okay? So understand your customer's psychology and you can charge the price that you deserve. So let me bring up the slide and get straight into it. Now, if there is just one thing that I want you to take away from this webinar, is this. So write this down if you have a pen or take a screenshot, but I want you to remember this, okay? A transaction is an exchange of value, okay? In a transaction, there is a mutual understanding and therefore an agreement that the value of what's being exchanged is somewhat equal, right? I want to emphasize on the word value here. Value is not just money, okay? Value is the worth of something. Now, for the transaction to occur, both sides need to agree that the value of what A is exchanging is worth the value of what B is exchanging, right? So here are a few examples of the different types of transactions. Here, A exchanges money for B's product. Okay, very simple. We do this all the time. In this example, A is exchanging a lot of money for B's Louis Vuitton bag. Okay, another scenario, A is exchanging money for B's services. So B might be building a website for A, for example. Now, in this example, A is exchanging his time and labor to work as an intern at B's big company, which has a very prestigious reputation in the industry. All right. So in this transaction, A's value is his time and labor for free, obviously. And also, as a beginner, A's willingness to learn, follow instructions, and be guided, right? Now, B's value is their reputation as a prestige company, which will help A get another job quite easily once he's got on his resume that he's worked at B's company, right? The value here is also in the experience and the skills that A will gain from the internship at B's company. Now, in this transaction, there's actually no money being exchanged, but both parties have a mutual agreement that both of their values are exchangeable. Okay, so in other words, the values are somewhat equal. Now, in this scenario, A is exchanging a service for B's service. Okay, I've picked a really silly scenario, but for example, I'll teach you yoga if you watch my kid. Okay, I don't know if this ever happens in real life, but In this scenario, A is exchanging a service for B's service. Okay, so in business, this is called a barter system where you exchange a service or product for another service or another product. Again, no money is exchanged. So the very first thing that we need to work on is shifting our mindset from pricing is about money to pricing is about value, right? Focus less on trying to convince customers to pay the price and more on what value you bring to the table. Okay, I'll let that sink in for a bit. Pricing is not about money. Pricing is about value. Focus less on trying to convince customers to pay the price and more on what value you bring to the table. Okay, so at the start of this webinar, I said, how do we convince them? Well, we don't. Okay, so I'll touch on how you can do this a little bit later. But let's get into why people believe that cakes should be cheap. Let's go through some of the common beliefs some people have about cakes. Okay, some. Okay, who am I kidding? It feels like everyone has these beliefs, right? So it's not just, it's just flour and sugar. Anyone can bake a cake. Supermarket cakes are cheaper and just as good. It's a hobby, not a profession. Okay, I can give you pages and pages of examples of these kinds, but who really wants to feel anger rising up our throat reading through all of them, okay? It's enough when we hear them. So let's just look at these 4 examples. First, it's just flour and sugar. So why would someone have this belief? Well, for starters, they most likely don't bake. Additionally, they probably grew up around people who don't bake. Okay, so basically these people lack any basic understanding of what baking or making a cake involves, and this is just because of how they grew up or how they lived their lives. So can you try and educate these people on what baking or cake making involves? Well, of course you can, okay, but how likely are they going to change their minds? Well, how likely are you to convince someone to quit smoking by just educating them on the harmful effects of smoking? Unless these people start wanting to learn how to bake themselves and then they actually go through a period of actually doing the learning and practicing, right? You merely telling them that a cake is more than just flour and sugar isn't going to change their beliefs overnight. Now let's look at this example. Anyone can bake a cake. Okay, so why would someone have this belief? Well, they most likely grew up with grandmas and grandpas who bake, or mothers and aunties, or fathers and uncles who bake. Okay, so in another word, they've grown up their whole life witnessing people around them just whip up cookies and pies and whatnot. You know, it's just a very normal thing for them, and they most likely bake themselves, right? So can you try and educate these people that making a 3-tier wedding cake with intricate piping details is very different to baking a pie, an apple pie that grandma used to make? Okay, sure, you can try, but how are you really going to succeed at changing their minds? Okay, my guess is it's as likely as you convincing birds to walk instead of fly. Unless one day, of course, they attempt to make a 3-tier wedding cake with intricate piping details themselves, and then they realize you cannot just make a 3-tier wedding cake with intricate piping details yourself, right? You're not going to change their minds. Okay, let's look at this one. Supermarket cakes are cheaper and just as good. Okay, so why would someone have this belief? Obviously, this person has gone through their life without much exposure to anything else other than supermarket cakes, I'm guessing. All right. Every birthday they've had, maybe they had no cake, or if they've had a cake, it's just a cake from the supermarket, right? Maybe they've gone to parties before where people had more extravagant cakes, but because the family has budget constraints, their parents have managed to convince them that cakes are not important, right? And a supermarket cake is just as good as any other cake but it's cheaper, right? So win-win. Now, for someone to grow up with this kind of mindset ingrained in them, right? How likely are you going to succeed at changing this person's belief by telling them that your cakes are better than the supermarket cakes? Okay, how likely? Okay, one more. It's a hobby, not a profession. Okay, I'm going to roll my eyes real hard because this is something that really irks me. All right, so let's look at why someone would have this belief. Okay, sorry. So I would say that this person most likely grew up with someone, with people that have very serious professions like lawyers, teachers, professors, surgeons, whatever. The whole family's got really serious professions, or the parents have instilled in them the belief that anything that is not like a serious profession is not a profession. All right. So a profession in their belief does not involve artistic endeavors. Okay. So this is someone that won't take you seriously unless you went to university or you have a degree. Right. So if this is what they believe, how likely, again, are you going to be able to change their minds just by telling them that, oh, well, it's not what you think? Okay, so what I have hopefully demonstrated is that people's formation of beliefs is a complex process that often involves a combination of personal experience, cultural and social influences, family upbringing, education, environmental factors, peer pressure, peer influences, a lot of stuff. Okay, so once a person holds a certain belief, it is ingrained and it is intertwined with their identity and who they are as a person. Okay, beliefs can change, sure, but they do over time with the individual's personal experience as they go through life. You, as a cake maker, do not have the capabilities to change anyone's beliefs, nor should you try. So don't try to convince people to change their beliefs so that they see the value in your products, okay? Instead, find the people that already hold beliefs that do see the value in your products and sell to them, all right? It's going to be a much easier sell. So you probably think these people don't exist or they don't exist around me, okay? These people exist and they will gladly give you their money for the value that you provide, okay? If you just find the people that agree on the value, on the mutual values of this exchange, this transaction is going to occur, right? So I'll go into how you can do that a little bit later. Pricing is 50% knowing how to work out the prices and 50% knowing who will actually pay those prices, okay? These two are equally important in the pricing equation, and you need to know both, and you need to know how to balance both sides to be able to get it right, okay? So while you're here, you're already on here, and I'm talking about pricing. Let me give you my entire approach to pricing, which I teach in Cake Pricing Pro, okay? Just for you being here. So there are 9 steps that will cover 100% of what I just outlined. So 50% knowing how to price and 50% knowing who will pay those prices. Okay, so these are 9 clear components of pricing that, if approached in this exact order, will set you up for long-lasting success. Okay, so most pricing courses that are available out there right now for cake makers specifically, they focus mainly on this cost plus pricing strategy. Okay, so this is very simple and straightforward in terms of what it means. Okay, this is just where you work out your costs, you add a profit margin to it, and yep, you've got a price, right? So this is what most online cake pricing courses covers out there right now. Now, they might add a little bit of this, right? Customer communications. But in this, they'll tell you how to convince those wrong customers to change their beliefs, all right? We don't want to do any convincing. So if the full picture contains 9 steps and people are only teaching you one, so how are you ever going to break out of that how can I convince them cycle? Okay. How are you ever going to actually earn a profit and eventually grow your business? Having a business that is barely surviving is not fun, okay? And it's not what you're made for. It's not what you got into business to do, okay? No one starts a business to just barely survive, okay? So we do not want to do any convincing. It's too hard and we don't want to do that. We want the right people to come to us. And this is how you do it, okay? My approach to cake making as well as business is a very holistic approach. So I always try to look at the bigger picture, the full picture, right? And then I try to come up with logical, digestible, and actionable steps to help you take towards your goal, okay? So there's no point in doing one little thing, if they don't all together help you get you closer to the result that you want, okay? So let's get into what is involved in each of these steps. Now, first off, let's talk about money mindset. Okay, this is the very first thing that we need to look at. I've said enough times that we want to attract people with beliefs that align with ours and our businesses, right? So whatever your beliefs, you're going to end up attracting people that believe the same, right? It's just the law of attraction. So if you believe that no one in my area, in my city or my state or my country would pay high prices for a cake, if you believe my cakes are not great, so I can't charge too much for them, I'm just doing this for fun, it's nothing serious, I have to offer discounts to entice people to buy, right? So if this is your mindset, you're just going to end up attracting people that believe this kind of stuff, all right? And then you're going to be like, why? I can't change their mind. But you know what? You can't change their mind because one, that's your mind too. So until you change your mind, you're not going to be able to change their mind. But again, like I said, we don't want to change anyone's mind. Okay, so let me get back to the law of attraction. The bottom line is whatever your beliefs, right? You're going to end up attracting the same people. So before you attempt anything else, first, work on your money mindset, okay? A positive money mindset is a set of beliefs, attitudes, and thoughts that promote a healthy and empowering relationship with money and finances. So individuals with a positive money mindset view money as a tool that can be used to create opportunities, support their goals, and contribute to their overall well-being. Okay, they understand the value of their products or services and are confident in setting prices that reflect that value. So a positive money mindset is characterized by a sense of abundance instead of a place of lack, a willingness to invest in oneself, all right, instead of being scared to take action, and the recognition that financial success is achievable through informed decisions, hard work, and dedication, as opposed to emotional decision making. Okay, so if you have a positive money mindset, you just end up attracting people with positive money mindset. Okay, so then it's so much easier to get on the same page. Actually, you're already on the same page. So that's just how it works, okay? So don't be scared to change your mindset and make it a positive one. Okay, so number 2, market research. When it comes to your cake business, you might think is as simple as you sell beautiful cakes and delicious cakes, right? And people buy, right? You sell really nice, beautiful, delicious cakes. People are just going to flock to you and they're just going to buy. And then you go pouring your heart and soul into spending months and years trying to perfect your cakes, trying to learn the skills, right? Investing in equipment, a shop front or whatever. And then no one comes, okay? Not only does your business suffer then, so does your self-worth. You think that you're not good enough by this point because no one's buying, right? And this is a really disheartening scenario, but so many cake makers find themselves right in this spot, okay? It's especially heartbreaking for me because I can see that you're working so hard and you're putting all the effort into the wrong area. Okay, so master your cake making skills, make sure that your cakes is good and it's delicious, all right? That is essential. But if your market has people who want small and affordable, easy to buy cakes, but you keep trying to sell them avant-garde, expensive, one-of-a-kind cake masterpieces, right? They're not going to buy, are they? So when they don't buy, then you think, oh, these people don't want to pay this much. I should charge less. Might be too expensive for them. Okay, see what I mean? So the solution here is to either sell this current market what they want, which are easy to buy, affordable, smaller cakes, or you market your avant-garde, more expensive pieces to a different market who are willing to pay the price tag, all right? So the whole point is to sell the right product to the right people. Market research will help you find who the right people are, right? And what problems they have so you can develop products to suit them or better solve their problems. Okay, so there are two things involved in market research, okay? A few things, but I'm gonna just kind of put them into a nutshell. So the first thing is identifying your current market. This step simply seeks to understand the people or the market that are already buying from you. Okay, so if you've been in business, if you made orders before, right, then this means that you already have data. You have data on your customers, you have data on your sales, on the items that you've sold, on how much you've sold. Okay, so in this scenario, what we want to do is look at your past data, all right, and we want to try and see if we can spot a trend in the data, all right? For example, which venues do you deliver to the most? Who are the repeat customers, all right? Which location do most of your customers come from? Which age group buy from you the most? What do they buy? What kind of people tend to buy quick? What kind of people tend to ask and run, what occasion you sell the most to, for example, wedding cakes or milestone birthday cakes, or, what products do you sell the most of, right? So look at the data that you already have on the people that have already bought from you, right? And you're going to be able to identify if there are any trends, right? And this is what is involved in trying to identify your current market, which are people that are already buying from you. Okay. Sorry, getting a bit of blocked nose for some reason in the middle of this. Okay, so the next step, we're going to try to define your ideal market. Okay, the ideal market is often referred to as the target market or the ideal customer or whatever. Okay, but this represents a specific group of consumers or businesses that a product or service is designed for and intended to serve. Okay, so this group is characterized by a set of common characteristics, needs, and preferences that align with the features and benefits of the offering. Okay, in this exercise, we're going to look into the characteristics of the people that we want to attract. Okay, what are their age? Where do they live? What's their income, their interests, and their motivations and their struggles? Okay, so the more we can define here, the more we're going to be able to not only price our products effectively for these people, but also effectively develop new products and market to them. Okay? Right, step number 3. A research that is equally as important as market research. So step number 3 involves competitor analysis, right? As a buyer, whenever I go to buy something, I always shop around, okay? Especially now with online shopping, you can easily Google an item and see who's selling them, okay? So let's say I want to buy a new stand mixer. First of all, I'm going to go and do some research into the product that I'm going to buy. And then once I know what product I'm buying, I'm going to go and look at the different stores that sell them, and I'm going to see who can give me the best deal. Then I'm going to go to them and I'm going to buy from them. Okay. I do this when I buy. So your customers do the same thing when they go looking for a cake to buy. All right. So unless someone is a diehard fan of yours and they'll just buy anything that you sell, right? When someone contacts you to inquire about a cake or whatever products you're selling, chances are they have also contacted your competitors asking the same thing. So competitor analysis is about understanding your competitors' pricing, offerings, and customer feedbacks, not so that we can copy them, but we want to gain these insights so that we can position our business uniquely, all right? So we want to know what they're doing so that we can position ourselves as something different to what they're doing, all right? We don't want to copy them. So in competitor analysis, right, that's what we look at. And now that we've done all of that, we're going to move on to cost analysis, okay? In step number 4, cost analysis involves a comprehensive examination and evaluation of all the costs associated with producing your products. Okay, this is a very simple and straightforward concept, and you would know this already, right? But cost analysis involves direct costs, which are expenses that can be specifically traced and attributed to the production of a particular product or service, such as ingredients, labor, packaging. Anything that you can trace that is involved in the making of that product is called direct costs, right? And then you have indirect costs, which are expenses that are not directly tied to the production of a specific product, but are necessary for the overall operation of the business, such as rent, utilities, insurance, admin, marketing, bookkeeping, all of that stuff. Okay, so most cake makers understand that they have to work out their costs. Okay, I'm sure you already know this, but most cake makers don't include all of the costs. Okay, so what ends up happening is that they come up with a price and they think is profitable, but in reality, expenses that weren't accounted for in the pricing ends up eating up all the profits, or worse, forces the business into operating at a loss, all right? And when they realize this, which is normally at the end of the financial year when they look at their books to do taxes, it's too late. You've already operated at a loss for, a year. So in Cake Pricing Pro, I'll walk you through all the possible costs you need to account for in relation to your cake business, all right? What's next? Number 5, cost plus pricing. Okay, so once you've done a thorough cost analysis and you've worked out the total cost that is associated with producing the item or the product, that includes direct costs and indirect costs, right? Now we're going to move on to the cost plus pricing strategy, and this is where you work out the price. So in this pricing strategy, this is one of the 3 pricing strategies that I teach in Cake Pricing Pro, okay? So the other 2 are value-based pricing and tiered pricing. So these are 3 pricing strategies specifically geared for cake or baked goods businesses, right? However, they are listed in order of complexity, meaning cost plus pricing is the least complex of the 3. Now, this is the strategy everyone should start with. Value-based pricing and tiered pricing are more complex and they require execution over time, okay? Now, back to cost plus pricing. In a nutshell, it just involves adding a markup to the total cost of production to determine the selling price, okay? So the total costs include your direct costs and indirect costs per product, and the markup, my note says market, and the markup is your profit margin, okay? Value-based pricing, on the other hand, is a pricing strategy where the price of a product or service is determined based on its perceived value to the customer, rather than the cost of production or the market price, right? So in other words, it involves setting the price of a product or service at a level that reflects the perceived benefit and value it provides to the customer. Now, in this pricing strategy, you'd have to really hone in to understand the value, right? What does value stand for? What is perceived value? How to communicate value? How to increase perceived value, all right? Everything is about value in this pricing strategy. Now, of course, right, you need to know your costs. That's the utmost basic, right? Everyone should start with the cost plus pricing. So value-based pricing is the next one, right? Now, here's a screenshot of a slide from Cake Pricing Pro showing the aspects of value that you should look at in relation to your brand and your product. Okay, so I'll just read them out. There's customer service or customer experience, use and function, scarcity, quality, cost saving, emotional appeal, and brand reputation. Okay, so the more of these key aspects you can cover, meaning the more of these key aspects your product can embody in terms of value, right? Obviously, the more value you add to the product, meaning the more justified you are in charging high prices. Okay, so think of like a luxury brand, for example. Their value, a lot of it is in brand reputation and emotional appeal. All right, luxury brands are not about cost saving. So the value in brand reputation, the customer experience, and the emotional appeal, also scarcity, and most of the time quality, right, adds to the value of a luxury product, hence why they can charge the high prices. Okay, now here's the formula. I go into it a lot more inside Cake Pricing Pro, but basically in value-based pricing, the formula is perceived value plus cost plus profit plus equals price. All right, so in cost plus pricing, the formula is cost plus profit equals price. Now in perceived value, in value-based pricing, you add the perceived value equivalent to that formula, okay? Next, tier pricing. This is the most complex pricing strategy out of the three, okay? Tier pricing involves offering products at different price points to cater to various customer segments. Each tier may include different features, sizes, or levels of customizations, okay? If you're a one-man band, I do not recommend that you use tiered pricing strategy, okay? Even if you're a two-man band. Now, I see so many home bakers make this mistake. You're a one-man band, you already do everything on your own. Instead of niching down to serve one segment of the market, offering limited number of products to only cater to that segment of the market. This is what you should do in order to ensure profitability and also sustainability of your business, all right? Instead of doing that, I see so many cake makers go the other direction, all right? If they're not selling, if no one's buying, they end up starting something new and then offering a new product. So then you end up offering everything under the sun and you end up selling to everyone, okay? What happens is you end up burnt out and you still not make enough money because you're not really serving any particular segment of the market, right? So tier pricing is not for you if you are a one-man band, okay? Now, tier pricing works best when you have a team which can manage complex tiers of products and costs, right? So tiered pricing offers the opportunities to sell to a diverse customer base with varying budget ranges and preferences, which also means upselling opportunities, okay? So the costs involved in running a team and keeping large amount of inventories because you've got so many different tiers of products, right? The higher overheads because you have to hire more staff, all of that. The costs of a tier pricing strategy is a lot more, okay? So I'm going to emphasize again, if you're a one-man band, you do not want to do tiered pricing. You probably are doing it right now, but okay, so once you are clear on the pricing strategy that is best suited for your business, the next step is customer communications. All right. So I mentioned before, we're not trying to convince anyone to change their mind here. That's not what we want to do in customer communications. All right. The aim here is to effectively communicate the value of your cakes or baked products to your customers in order for the price to be a no-brainer, okay? Regardless of whether it's $20 or $200 or $2,000, okay? In this lesson, in Cake Pricing Pro, right, in this step, in Cake Pricing Pro, I will take you through a lesson and an exercise to try and define your unique value proposition, okay? A unique value proposition is a concise statement that communicates the unique benefits and value a product or service provides to its customers. So in other words, what sets you apart from your competition, okay? Without this unique value proposition, you cannot effectively communicate anything because you'll just be another cake shop that sells cakes, okay? So you'll be at the mercy of the customer's preconceived ideas and beliefs about what a cake shop or bakery should be and what you should sell, all right? This is why you have people with beliefs that we spoke about earlier in the webinar that you cannot change, okay? So this is why you get people sending you annoying requests because they are just not clear about what you offer, okay? So at the start, I talked about repelling the wrong customers and attracting the right one, okay? We don't want to convince people to change their mind. We want to repel the wrong customers and we want to attract the right one. We want the right ones to come to us, okay? So you do that by communicating your unique value proposition. Right, so in Cake Pricing Pro, I will also walk you through some other methods to effectively communicate your unique value, all right? Such as, emails, website, social media, things like that, okay? So lastly, once you have a good grasp on everything that I've just outlined, it's time to utilize automations, okay? Automations help you save time. It helps you save effort. Obviously, it helps you save money, okay? So this step, however, needs to be the last step in this whole equation. You cannot start with automations because you're just guessing, right? And then you'll be going back and undoing things, right? So you need to sit down and really nut out the other 8 steps, really understand them, really put in the work. Once you've got a clear picture of what needs to be done, right, then you implement in automation so that you don't have to do that, okay? I cover that in Cake Pricing Pro as well. Now, I said it before, right? I said it at the start, this wasn't going to be a long webinar. So I've tried very hard to make it as straightforward as possible in order to help you. So I hope that it's helped, right? If you just want to cut to the chase and you don't want to learn it by yourself, right? Join me in Cake Pricing Pro. I've just closed enrollment to the public, but you can get in via watching this webinar. Okay, I will go over the 9 steps that I've outlined in more details and show you the how-tos. You've got the framework now, so obviously you can take that away and nut it out in your own time at your own pace, right? But this is going to take you a lot longer than 6 weeks. If wasting time on trial and error is not your thing, then join me in Cake Pricing Pro by clicking that link that's just popped up, okay? I want to end this webinar by reminding you of what I started with, okay? Pricing is not about money. Pricing is about value, okay? Focus less on trying to convince people to pay your price and focus more on the value that you can bring to the table, okay? Repel the people whose beliefs don't align with yours and attract the people whose beliefs align with yours and your businesses, okay? And they'll be a much easier sell. My name is Tao Armstrong. I'm the founder of Don't Tell Charles. I have over 10 years of experience owning a cake business, a dessert cafe, a cake studio, a workshop, an online cake school, okay? I've made all the mistakes that you can make when it comes to cake making as well as business, right? And I've learned from them all. So Don't Tell Charles currently has a community of over 10,000 students from all over the world. And my mission is to help you, or as many cake makers as possible, cake smarter, not harder, so that you can put time back in your day for creativity and growth. Okay, so thank you for watching this webinar, and I'll see you inside Cake Pricing Pro. Bye.